Prior to President Obama's arrival in Ethiopia, he bid farewell to Kenya Sunday with a major speech in Nairobi where he called on Kenyans to change the cultures of corruption and discrimination that can hold society back. VOA's East Africa correspondent Gabe Joselow tells us more.
President Obama got personal during his speech to the Kenyan people, recalling the struggles of his Kenyan father and how times have changed since he first visited the country 27 years ago.
Saying the first time I came to Kenya, things were a little different. When I arrived at Kenyatta Airport, the airline had lost my bags. That doesn't happen on Air Force One.
In a wide-ranging speech, Mr. Obama praised Kenyan progress in the 50 years since independence, but called on the people to address the serious challenges still facing the country.
I want to be very clear here. A politics that's based solely on tribe and ethnicity is a politics that's doomed to tear a country apart. It is a failure. Terrorists who try to sow chaos, they must be met with force, and they must also be met, though, with a forceful commitment to uphold the rule of law and respect for human rights. Here in Kenya, it's time to change habits and decisively break that cycle, because corruption holds back every aspect of economic and civil life.
As Mr. Obama left the stadium, some young leaders who attended the speech said they were moved by the president's words, particularly his encouragement for young people and women.
What I loved most about his speech is that he told the youth that hope lies with us, that the future lies with us, that solutions are not in America, solutions are not abroad.
It was a very good point even to emphasize that women are the changers of the world.
This was President Obama's final day in Kenya. He left later for Ethiopia, where he will meet with that country's government and leaders of the African Union. Gabe Joselow, VOA News, Nairobi.
Joining us now live via Skype from Wisconsin is Professor David Wachanga of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. He is a journalist by training and a political analyst. Professor, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you so much for having me.
First off, what is your analysis of the president's trips to your country, looking at the long-term impact?
It was inspiring. He inspired hope. And I think what was more important is the fact that he reminded Kenyans that sometimes it is also important to focus on the success story. And that kind of approach allows you to understand where you have gone wrong. Reminding young girls in Kenya and young boys in Kenya that geography is immaterial. They don't have to leave the country to seek good education. And at the same time, he reminded us of the challenges that we do have. But I think what is even more critical is for us to start asking other questions beyond the celebratory narrative of what has been called his homecoming, and seek answers to what is this global entrepreneurship summit? How does it benefit Kenya? And I think those are important questions. But I think going back to Kenya inspired hope and reminded Kenyans that they can just make it where they are.
Sure. Now, how do Kenyans step up to the plate? It seems that there are a lot of expectations there.
Well, this has always been the challenge of we do know what we need to do, which is to strengthen institutions. These conversations have been going on. How do we expand spaces within which a democracy is practiced? How do we expand spaces where the minority are respected? How do we expand spaces where women are given opportunities and are empowered? Because we have seen the role that they can play, that any young girl, whether it's in Lake Valley, in Kogelo, or in Kakamega or Kirinyaga, can become the second Wangari Maathai.
So President Obama is in Ethiopia, met with some leaders there. This is the first time a U.S. sitting president has done so. What do you see as the outcome from this meeting?
Beyond the euphoria of Obama mania is to look at the substantive policies that are going that are going to be made, what policies are going to be developed, and how those policies are going to be implemented beyond his visit. It is a celebratory moment for him to go back to Africa and to Kenya in particular, and now in Ethiopia as a sitting president. We cannot overlook the fact that this is the most powerful black man to have ever walked on this planet, and for him to make those kind of suggestions, even after recognizing that Kenya is part of his heritage, referring to himself as a Kenyan American, in a way that allows us to look at him as somebody who is also...
Professor Wachanga, sorry, we have to leave it there. We're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us today. And that was Professor David Wachanga, who joined us live via Skype from the University of Wisconsin, Whitewater.